Paige, why are you working at the White House in this day and age in 2024? I want to know your whole story, but I'm kind of mind blown because that place is like, I don't know, it seems like a Martians are taking over the world. Monica Paige, of course, before you answer that question, OAN is your current network. You're the correspondent at Washington, D.C.'s White House, which is a big deal. I bet your mom and dad are really proud of you. Before we get into the first question, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm very excited to be here. I'm so excited to give you a little glimpse into what the day in the life is like at the White House. Sometimes I have to pinch myself. I have no idea how I got here. It's kind of like a dream. Sometimes it's like a nightmare being, a Catholic woman at the White House who's very much just in search of the truth and fighting for the truth every single day when, each crisis is plagued by another, so you'll never fully know the truth about any of it all. And I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it and expose, what's really happening. And I'm glad that for you guys, to have these outlets to expose that and to talk to real everyday people about what's happening. People need to know the truth. So I appreciate you guys having me.
So appreciate that, Monica. And so, yeah, we talked a little bit right before we went live, and I snuck that live on you because we're a podcast, so we kind of do it a little different than what you're used to in your world. But, the truth is that we did meet on the road at Miles Gua's event in New Jersey. And I was able to be a part of the big leagues for a day. And it was pretty impressive to see all the people who were there. But then, I started following your work and starting to, watch you on the show. Every day that you do your correspondent work, and you're right into it, man. Like you're into this, you're energetic, right? And so how many women are correspondents at the White House currently, including yourself? Do you know?
Well, it's got to be about a pretty large handful at this point, considering the fact that, these networks and these corporations are pushing for more women in journalism, but the thing is that that's just so for optics sake. You would have women in journalism, but are they good women in journalism? Are they really down with the cause? Are they really for pushing the truth? Or are they just going to ask softball questions? I don't want to ask softball questions. I want to get to the heart of the issue, and I really want to know what's really going on under the surface. And it's tough because these women, these such diverse women, they get all like these diverse questions, and like great for them, that's their niche, that's their publication or their outlet, like kudos to them. But as a woman who doesn't get a seat in the press briefing room because of the outlet that she's with, because it's traditionally conservative Catholic news, it's sad, and it's a little disheartening. It's discouraging. I keep my hand raised in the back of the room, hoping that maybe one day Karine Jean-Pierre will call on me, and you get disappointed, because she knows that my questions are not going to be the norm. They're not going to be the softball questions. So I'm still trying every single day. Sometimes I even email into the press briefing to the Karine Jean-Pierre and her assistant to try and maybe, if she's too embarrassed to call on me, maybe she'll answer my email. And she doesn't. It gets probably tossed in the trash, but.
And so, Monica, as we're talking about like the correspondent's position, and you talked a little bit about the question you've been waiting to ask. Have you gotten any answers from that press secretary up to this point?
Well, sometimes it's nice because sometimes other reporters will ask the question that I wanted to ask, so I can kind of rely on them to do that work for me, considering that I won't get a question in. But they have never called on me, not once. They haven't answered any of my emails, not once. Sometimes they'll give me a reassuring, hey, we got your question, we'll be sure to forward that along. But I don't get any response to any of the questions. So, I mean, it's a shame. I'm really hoping that, when there's a press gaggle, when the president leaves the White House, or when he returns from the White House, then maybe he'll make the mistake of calling on me and answering one of my questions out in that press gaggle. But that's really all that I'm banking on right now, is just kind of shouting my question at the president and hoping that would in turn garner a response. But as of right now, I'm just it feels like I'm on the battlefield in that briefing room.
Well, so that gets into, like, we talked about it, and there's a partisan conversation in the world today. That sounds like a good song somebody should be writing. It's a little jingle there. The partisanship in the world is, like, I mean, let's face it, the previous administration, everyone has a little partisanship, but in this situation, it seems like it's very, very aggressive, and people are cut off from the truth, and that's disappointing, because the American people deserve to hear the questions you're paid to ask, right? And so we're going to pray on that one, that you get that opportunity, and I know it's coming for you, Monica Paige. So you're in the White House like every day, right? Like, you're there.
Yeah, every single day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 in the morning till, till OAN wants to take me live or do some interviews remote from the White House, or, yeah, I love it every single day. I mean, I never thought that I would ever end up being here, but you know what? It's so crazy because I prayed on this so much. When I was originally at Newsmax, I was an associate producer at Newsmax, just hoping that one day the network would give me a chance to do what I meant to do, which is be a reporter. I've always wanted to be an on-camera reporter. I want to expose the truth. I want to tell people stories, real life accounts of people who are living, their journey in this life. And unfortunately, they didn't give me that experience. I understood. So then I applied to OAN. A former colleague of mine referred me. She's like, they'll give you a shot. Just do it. So when we met out in New Jersey, I was actually in San Diego at the OAN headquarters, just doing weekend anchoring and weekday reporting. And the environment just in San Diego in general was just not where I want to be. I'm an East Coast girl through and through. I'm originally from Jersey. So
Okay.
meeting you, I felt right in my element.
All right.
But being on the West Coast, it was just so different. It just felt like everything was backwards. I just didn't feel at home and settled, in my life. So by the grace of God, I got the opportunity to become the White House correspondent because my predecessor was moving on to doing more long form content, and I would then, take over her spot as she, endeavors on this new long form investigatory role. So I'm just so thankful that I get to be on the East Coast, be at this White House beat because I'm obsessed with politics at this point. And I love it so much, and I'm very happy to be here. But sometimes I have to pinch myself because it gets so crazy, and sometimes you get too comfortable, but you have to remind yourself you're at the White House. How many other people get to have that opportunity?
Oh yeah,
It's
crazy.
so,
I mean,
it's crazy.
today's world, 2024.
Yeah.
You are at the White House in some of the most historic days in the history of this country and world, and I just it's amazing the things you're getting a chance to see. Monica, you're from New Jersey, so you're scrappy, right? We just got to assume scrappiness is
100%.
associated. Now, were you near the Bada Bang, Bada Boom? Were you near the Soprano set?
I think an hour south. I'm in Monmouth County, 5 minutes from Six Flags, 30 minutes from the shore. So I'm more of a fist pumping than a bada
Okay.
bang.
Oh, so Jersey Shore. You're Jersey Shore. Did you spend some summers at the Jersey Shore?
Absolutely, 100%. And I
Is
don't talk
is
about them.
Snooki? Did you know Snooki?
I met her.
Do you know
Times.
Snooki?
I've met her.
Do you really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I met her at
That's
Snooki
cool.
shop.
Everyone knows
She has a
Snooki.
store. She's got a couple of locations, but I met her at her one meet and greet because I was like, I have to meet this girl. I love her.
I think people from Jersey Shore, they're unique, right? A Jersey Shore person because you guys have this cool special kind of like connection.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool history. So you get this dream job, like you said, but let's go back to college, and you talked about this blessing, and I will get back to why I think this is so important, and we've connected as well. Is this is all God's plan, and so I really live by that every day. But where'd you go to school? Like, you said Jersey, but high school, college, all that stuff. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So growing up in Central Jersey, I went to Allentown High School, which is a small town in New Jersey. Everyone says, "Oh, Allentown High School is probably Allentown,
Baseball.
Pennsylvania." No, it's right in Central Jersey, a big little farm town. It's just, and because my hometown was too small to have its own high school, we just kind of meshed the two different towns, and I went to Allentown, and it was great. I was part of the newspaper club and the AV club. I was involved in the journalism industry since high school. I guess you can say I had an internship at 92.7 WOBM News at the Jersey Shore, and I just loved the idea of TV and news, even from just a very young age. And I knew I wanted to pursue it, so I went to Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York. And that was great. It was great because they had a great communications program. And I actually went because I was a big fan of Bill O'Reilly. I still am, just from his Fox News days, watching him with my dad on the couch. I just got a kick out of him. And he really spoke to me. And I was like, where did he go to school? So I kind of wanted to follow in those tracks. And I was part of a sorority over there. I was joining a TV club over there as well. And that was cool. I think that college prepared me for real life in the sense that the students that went there were not the nicest people. A lot of them were from Long Island and North Jersey, and they really gave me a hard time. I'd always felt that I was different in life, and I felt like my purpose on this earth may have been a little different from everybody else, but I went through a really hard time in college. I was not popular. I did not have many friends. I really struggled. And I think that those struggles really prepared me for this TV industry. Because when you're in front of the camera, people are nasty, in the comments, on social media. But now you can call me any name under the sun, and it is right over my head, and it just doesn't affect me. So it's really interesting the way your life experiences shape what your future could look like or how you even react to certain situations. So that college experience was great in that way. I got to intern at Entertainment Tonight and at college. I thought I wanted to do entertainment news, but then when it came to 2016 in the election, I was like, this is my first vote. I want to pay attention. You know, I'm voting for Donald Trump, and because he really spoke to me in ways that other politicians just couldn't. And well, he's not a politician, but any of these other candidates, I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. I was like, I don't know what foreign policy was at the time. I was too young to understand like what anything was going on in the world. But Trump put it in a way where I could understand it and actually pay attention to it. So I'm thankful to be able to now understand the world around me because of Donald Trump, and he continues to lay it out for us, and continues to just prove everybody wrong. And he was right about a lot of things, and he still is. So Marist College, man, that's where I went to school. That's where I kind of really.
So it was a liberal school. It was a liberal school,
yes,
really,
liberal arts.
pretty much.
Yep. Still.
So, but you said the people there, you said you really didn't feel like you belong. And by the way, maybe you want to go to my next therapist with me, because that's exactly my 54 years. I just never could figure it out. Because, you kind of got to, like, for us to want to, like us, like I'm compared to you, for people like yourself, and, on this underground podcast thing, we want to talk, right? That's a different person. Like, that's a different mentality, because we're driven to share information. So were you a snitch as a kid? Did you like to tell on everybody? Did you like to tell the story on everybody?
I did like to just talk to people and talk people's heads off. I got in trouble in my creative writing class for talking too much, and I would hate when the teacher would interrupt me and say, "Stop talking," and I'd say, "It's okay, calm down." Yeah, so that was one of those.
So Are your mom and dad talkers? Like, is at the dinner table, like the pasta? I see the pasta, meatballs, and like everything going on, and the conversation, and the wine bottles with the little wicker basket on it, kind of thing. Was that your environment?
The environment was always, you sit around the dinner table and you just talk to each other. There was no TV, there's no cell phones. You just talk about your day, and that is just, it really instills those morals and values and those traditions that you want to take with you, because everyone's in front of the screens, everyone's in front of the phones, the TVs, constant distractions. Once a day, you all get to sit down at a table and just talk to each other. And I'm very thankful that was the environment that I was raised in. I want to continue to take that with me in the future, for sure.
Amazing. Yeah. So you did you grow up in that Christian atmosphere of, like, was church important in the family and the community at the time?
Yeah, it's interesting because I grew up Catholic. I went through, CCD classes after school. I did, communion and confirmation, and I really lost touch with my faith because I dreaded it growing up. I was like, oh, I got to go to CCD, oh, I got to go to church. And then in college, I completely lost any sort of religion, any sort of faith. We had a church on campus. I never went. And I think it wasn't until after college where all these amazing things started happening to me. And I'm like, this cannot just be hard work. Like, there's a reason why this person is being placed in front of me, and I'm making this connection at this time in my life. This is weird. There's got to be something else. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pray, and I'm gonna see what happens. And that just completely took off in my life. And I was like, there's a higher power, and this is showing me, this is proof. And every day I'm proved, I'm shown every day. I'm at the White House every day. I'm constantly succeeding. I'm getting these interviews every day. I get these opportunities to talk to people like you and share my story, and you can share your message, and it's great. And now I go to church every single Sunday, and I'm constantly growing in my faith, and just by showing thanks and praying, I've received so many blessings in my life, and I encourage everybody
Praise
to
Jesus.
Really hop on board, because you need it now more than ever.
100%. Praise Jesus. It's interesting because we came in each other's pathway when I started my journey a year ago. I was saved, and I'm 54, and in my age, like, most guys would have been just drinking the beer, sitting in the corner, kicking the dog, depressed, and all that stuff. But something that voice was in me, in my heart, and it did drive me to want to do more, and that has paid dividends, right? So praise Jesus. I'm so with you on that one. It's just amazing. I see the smile on your face, and it's real. So God's love is real, and folks should. I always talk about it. If you're out there depressed, if you're sad, if you got having trouble, or if you're hustling and you're just wondering why this hustle's paying off, you maybe want to turn to God. Monica just said it. I can tell you from my own facts that God is so real, and it's a beautiful thing. Monica, there's a world filled with issues, like pick a hat, like throw the hat, and the name of the hat kind of thing, and let's pick the biggest issue you think right now in the world for a woman in your position, being a correspondent, being this position of high. I mean, this is a big deal. You can't get bigger than this platform where you work at. What's some of the difficult things with today's society, all the issues that are going on, the wokeness, all these things that come into play for you as that Christian woman as you navigate through the business?
That's a really great question, and I think a lot of it has to do with censorship, a lot of just hiding, what's meant to come out, hiding the truth of it all, and just this overabundance of misinformation and this overabundance of, this wokeness that we're seeing as a distraction and as a way and as a means of getting people numb and dumb, and censorship, and when you can't speak, if you can't freely think, that's a very dangerous world. And as a reporter who deals with that on a daily basis and is seeing it not only now at my job, but from many people online who are trying to just freely express their thoughts and their values and whatnot, and seeing them censored on these major platforms, or even silenced or fired because you think differently. Whatever happened to diversity of thought? I mean, you have diversity of skin tone and religion, and while that's all good and great, it's 2024, thank God. Where that diversity of thought that has gone away, and it's scary. They want everybody under the same thought process, and you see what they do to people who don't think the same way as you. They completely shun them. You get banned. You're not allowed to go to certain events. At the White House, I don't get invites to White House events sometimes, like those big ones with all the other reporters. I don't get invited to that because we're conservative, and maybe we're a little too conservative for their liking. But what is their liking?
Are you treated differently? I mean, let me ask you a question, because I think it's interesting, because we hear so much, and again, we're back. The one thing is, when you serve in the White House as a correspondent in this big position, and by the way, I'm sure your mom and dad love going to the coffee shop downtown to brag about their daughter, right? Like they got to be bragging, which is awesome. I think that's a great thing. And I got a daughter myself, 23, and I just want her to do everything in the world. And so we're proud of you for that, right? And so basically, at the end of the day, I know that the world, the situation down there is like, you're a woman, and let's just put it out there, because the racial divide over the last 4 or 5, whatever years, longer than that, has caused a lot of disruption in our world. And I wonder, do you feel that's brewing, and do you feel any of that? Because as a correspondent on the other side, or as a white female, or whatever, I shouldn't assume, because I can't identify you. You got to identify yourself. Just give me a little bit of that flavor. Because what's the temperature? Is it coming back? Are we going to have burnings in the streets again?
It's going to be interesting this upcoming election cycle. I mean, in the press briefing room, you can feel it. But the thing is that a lot of these, it's the white liberal women who usually are the proponents of this racial divide. They themselves are the ones that are kind of pushing or encouraging this kind of racial separation here, which is, it's always the white liberals who are always like, that's racist because because X, Y, and Z, and it's like, well, no, it's racist because you said that it is, and nobody was thinking that. So that's where kind of like where I have the problem. It's going to be really tense this upcoming election. I can already kind of feel it. And a lot of it right now, the climate is not so much black and white. It's more like it's the Free Palestine people that are coming here and causing chaos at the White House. There have been tons of protests on the national mall.
A lot of them are people with different sexualities and supporting that. Do they know in Palestine what would happen to them?
Yeah, they get beheaded and thrown off of buildings. That's what would happen to them.
I'm serious. I'm not being. That's a serious fact.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when I see, the white liberal women outside the White House holding the Palestinian flag, and they shout at me sometimes, because sometimes they'll come to the White House in the mornings and they'll stand outside the media gate where you have to enter, and they're yelling at us like, are you going to report the truth today? What are you going to talk about? Are you going to expose, the mass genocide that Israel is causing on Palestinians? And I look at them and I'm like, don't you have a job? Don't you work? And
You brought up something really cool because I agree with you. Like, I like the black liberals, women, not the white liberal women. I agree with you. I'll make that official. So we'll go. I'm saying that, by the way, not you. But the fun part about this is I feel like you're not afraid to talk to those people, right? Do you go up to them
no.
and so because that's the important part? I was going to ask because not everyone's brave enough to do that. You seem scrappy. Do you go right up to them and have the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take the time out of your day to yell at me and kind of spew your hatred and your and whatever kind of propaganda at me, I'm going to retaliate. I'm going to say something, and I'm going to say, you know what? Let me bring the facts to you. And sometimes these people don't want to hear the facts; they want to just yell at you, and talk over you because that's just the way that they go. Sometimes you have to, throw in a little zinger or say something in retaliation just to shut them up or just to give them something to think about. Like when they approach you, they usually have the masks on or they have whatever that scarf is on covering their face. I'm like, why don't you take that off and ask me that again? Like let me see what you look like because you're not going to talk to me and cover your mouth or your face so I don't know your identity because when I speak to you, I'm speaking to you as a human being. Like, plus, COVID's over. Why are we still wearing this mask outside? Are you afraid of fresh air? You're afraid of being, you know what
Your
I mean?
your jersey is coming out big time right now.
Yes, here we go.
It's,
Buckle
it's
up.
oh man, I felt like there was gonna. Yeah, I felt like doing a fist pumping right there.
I
But
know.
it's
But
do we need to laugh more though, Monica? I mean, honestly, don't you think
yeah.
laughter is so because the crazies got everyone so crazy, and then we all survived. Like somehow we survived out of the crazy. We're still here. And by the way, you haven't commented about my red Solo cup. This is my microphone.
I was looking
So
at it and I was like, that's an interesting. That's makes you different. It makes you different. I like that.
thank you. But on the road, I'm in the Panera Bread. This is where I am right now, and I'm on the road, so I'm doing the interview, and I just do it. I'm a gypsy, so this actually collects. I'm a now engineer. I created this new tool for my microphone. So
I like
I,
it.
I love the fact that you're just open and like swinging at the hip. Is every one of the correspondents there? Let's stay in the kind of the correspondent pool. And again, I want to hear about you as a Catholic, a believer working in the White House more. But the rest of this crew up there. I mean, you got the Peter Duceys and all that stuff. We see the I'm not calling Peter's like the main focus, right? I think of the movement. If there's got to be a leader picked on your team, I'd say Peter probably be the guy.
Yeah.
But when you talk to the rest of the correspondents, how does everyone get along there behind the scenes? Is it like the locker room, even the more liberal ones? Did you guys go in the back room and like the road runner and clock out and get along, or do you still have those interesting conversations?
Well, that's a great question as well. I mean, I do have a small little group of correspondents who I usually stick to and converse with on the day-to-day basis. Um, I've been told that it's like high school. The environment is kind of like high school. I mean, there are cliques. The thing is that I don't spend a lot of time in that area just because I want to avoid any sort of issues or any sort of trouble. But have I gotten dirty looks for being, a conservative Catholic, reporter? Yes. I don't engage really with many of them. I do engage with a small handful of them. I do have a good rapport with some of the other correspondents. So even though we don't agree on the same politics, I still smile at everybody and I say hello because why am I going to give her dirty looks? I don't know these people and they sure as hell don't know me. So I'll go in there and I'll smile at everybody whether they like me or not. And I'm there to do my job at the end of the day. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to, ask my questions, get the job done, and hopefully, something will come of it. But for the meantime, it's all about survival mode for somebody like me right now. It is survival mode. It's you go to work, keep your head down, do the work, go home. And I mean, I'm sure in a different administration, it's going to be a lot busier and a lot more exciting and a lot more positive. And I'm very much looking forward to what's to come in the future, given that everything works out.
Now you hear a lot about this, world's issues as far as women's rights have been a really big deal. And in fact, when you go back in the past couple of presidencies, the pink hats that took over the nation, then the pink hats were kind of transitioned over to a whole nother movement of men wearing pink hats representing women's issues. How difficult is it for you as someone who's fought through this glass? I mean, because there's a reality to this, and I'm not sitting here and saying that everything is supposed to be, a bowl of cherries, but there's a reality. But like, how do you deal with that because of those nonsense people? Like that you have people representing you as a woman that are men dressed up like a woman saying they're fighting for your rights. going on?
It's really annoying. It's like it's very irritating. And you say glass ceiling, and it's interesting because I never felt that there was a glass ceiling. I feel like a glass ceiling, that term was invented by women who just didn't have the guts to try and didn't have and listen to what other people said. And that's a very scary thing. That's why I feel like, I didn't come from money. I didn't come from privilege, like white. I didn't come from this white privilege that anybody speaks of. I worked hard for what I have, and I think that term, just to say, was invented by somebody who was just too afraid to really try. But when I see these women that really think that they're pushing, these women's rights, just think, gun rights are women's rights. The right to life and keeping life sacred, that's a woman's life right there growing inside of you. You know what I mean? And by taking that away from, the baby doesn't have a say in any of that decision. And with that, and that's a baby, that's a female child that doesn't have, like, that's taking a woman's rights away right there. Or the baby that has the ability to become a woman, taking that away. And when I see men trying to masquerade as women, it's just really, it's a very grim reality. And these liberals, they just buy into it. They just think, oh, you can become whatever you want to be. And I want to see more women standing up. And that brings me back to my point about censorship, is that when women do stand up for other true women, not these men, that's when you see people getting fired or censorship, or you can't say that. Well, the more people stand up, the more we can defeat the censorship and defeat this whole narrative that men can be women and this whole fairy tale. It's
I mean,
very scary.
I'll tell you, I kind of walk with Jesus, and I don't I do. It's like love over hate. And I don't want. I
Right.
love everyone. I don't care who you are. You could, but don't make us or make me have to get in line with your policies
Right.
because you're 1% of 1% of 1% that doesn't really have the say in the matters. But it seems like they've been given the say. Was it more for disruption? You think to take control of the country's issues in some way? Do you think this whole cynical movement took place where sort of power players in office as well as media players in office coordinated and worked with this disruption? Because you couldn't like pull off what happened over the last 4 years between the COVID lockdown and women's rights and the movement of after George Floyd. We've been in constant controlled disruption, and I feel like that piece, it's only used and dangled when it's votes and elections. And I feel like that's why it's coming back up. Does that make sense? The
It
question.
makes it makes total sense. I mean, yeah, distraction, disruption, and you also see a movement with, it's not only overloading, but censorship and trying to replace the narrative and trying to silence everybody and say, oh, don't look at that, take a look at this. Like here's
Mhm.
there's this wokeness, but it's also you allow just a little inch of some liberalism. You give a little bit of it, and they take a mile and they run with it. And just in step by step over the course of I don't know how many years, maybe the last 10 years, just a little bit of more acceptance, a little bit more inclusion, a little bit more, and it's just turned into this. I don't know what we're seeing right now. That men can be women. This whole furry attraction thing, this whole satanic agenda instilled in our children's school systems. And you give an inch and they take a mile, and now I think we've spiraled out of control, where now kids as young as age as of 10 can now go to these doctors and say, I want to be a boy, or I want to be a girl. And you don't even need parental consent, but you need to consent if you're going to get a tattoo under the age of 18, but you don't need to if you're going to get your genitals removed. So this is where we're at, and it is scary. And I think that if we keep letting this happen, we keep giving a little bit of an inch, we keep giving that it's, I mean, for me, I think we're completely, I think we're foobarred, for lack of a better term, and it's a shame.
What I heard, at least, I know we're having fun here. It's so crazy, but you know what? This is what we do in the real world. It's okay.
Mhm.
You were getting into the inches, and we were talking about just the what's going on with the world today. I want to kind of bring you back on, Monica. And so one of the things that you were talking about right there, and let's face it, the major media companies are trying to take you and I out right now. This is why we're having disruptions. They're attacking us because they know this is going to go viral. This interview is going to go. This is going to be the talk of the town. The interview from Kevin Allen, who nobody knows, with of course Monica, who is very famous as a correspondent at the White House. So, but your directness really opens up conversations, and I just want to say, as a person who's honored to have you here, it's also honoring to know that you're actually on the front lines asking the right questions. You're an average everyday person. You're a blue collar gal. And I think that's obvious. And I appreciate that about you, because I think we need more of that. Do you think it's time for us to stop trusting Republican and Democratic leadership parties and really trust the people that are part of movements that are really willing to roll this? Because I feel like I was a Republican state representative in Connecticut. I was going to run for Congress against Joe Courtney. I had a whole breakdown, and that's in my book. You can take a gander. I don't want to talk. I get embarrassed talking about it. But anyways, I don't get embarrassed. I'm just saying, but it's not about me. I had this experience where the Republican Party turned me off as a Republican because of leadership. And I'm wondering, how do we fix that? Because we see the divide with the top of the leadership right now and the current president, who is going to run for president again. And it's kind of a divide even there. What's your take on that?
Yeah, you raise a really good point. It's embarrassing to see the way the Republican Party is so split. I mean, you have the new wave of conservatism that's coming in, and that is the MAGA movement, which I think instills all the best qualities. I mean, it's pro-America. I mean, what's so bad about that? And then you've also got the establishment, the longtime Republicans that still want more aid to Ukraine, and don't really want to put America first. And, by all means, I'm sure that, they feel like they have great intentions, but that's just not what we need right now to defeat what we're seeing in the White House and what we're seeing on the Democrat side. We need more of the Republicans coming together. I was very optimistic about House Speaker Mike Johnson. I think he's a step up from House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, but I think we need more. We need to do more. Republicans do a lot of talking, and I think that the more action, the better, whether that be passing more legislation or canceling the legislation that Joe Biden's trying to put through, more aid to Ukraine, all this other government spending, $34 trillion plus in debt, in the nation's debt. And we need more funding for our southern border. We need more policy, not money, policy. We need to figure it out. And it doesn't take a bill to shut down the border. It takes actual leadership and action to shut down the border. And I think we need to see more of that. We need to see more action. And it's tough. I don't know what it's going to take. Unfortunately, I have no idea. I wish that I knew. We need more of the MAGA Republicans to really step up and bring everybody together. No more Mitch McConnell's, term limits. It's more of that, more of out with the old, in with the new. Let's completely revamp it, because we will need it in 2024.
Have you been to the southern border? Have you been down to cover the southern border?
No, I haven't. I was really thinking about going when I was out in San Diego, but I just did not get the chance to because of my work schedule when I was out there. But I do have friends who were reporting down there, and it's just bad. I know I did an interview with Jenny Taylor. She was the Daily Caller's immigration reporter, and we did an interview together, and she was down there as the Border Patrol agents were cutting the concertina wire and just allowing the migrants to just come on through. And that is orders from above. Like, that's Mayorkas level orders. And who's giving Mayorkas those orders? Joe Biden. So it's all coming from above. It all trickles down. And it's a shame, because I'm sure those Border Patrol agents don't want to do what they're doing. They just have to follow orders in order to keep their job. They got to pay the bills at the end of the day. They're not just going to leave. But they're very much mistreated as well, those Border Patrol agents. And that's why they're leaving in mass. And I don't blame them. They want to do what's right for the country. They're being told not to do their job. Just let them through. But no, I haven't been, but I'd love to go. Absolutely. Maybe I will.
So let me officially invite you. I'm actually, this is true. So I've done one documentary down there 2 years ago, and it was a really terrible one. It was my first one I ever did. But I'm going back down with PFA. That's Patriots for America. And that is with Sam Hall. They've been on a lot of news networks. We're going to team up, though, with Sheriff Lamb from Arizona. Yeah. And we're also working with Victor Avila, who's running for Congress. So I'm trying to work their schedules to see. We'll be down there sometime in April or May. So I will, seriously, if you want to come down, we'll have a film crew down there. You're more than welcome to come down and do whatever you want to do with us. I'm being drawn there as I look at the humanitarian side of issues on the southern border. I get a lot of talk. I talk to so many people in Texas, and I am just, I saw the rape trees when I was down there. I saw the trees where they're on the trail by the coyotes, and it's a very impactful sight when you're down there, smelling, seeing it, and feeling it.
Yes.
I'd love to see a live stream down there. That's been my dream. God, I feel like God's calling me to go down there and just live stream it 24/7 and just show people, because I think we got to almost go to like Truman on this, like the movie Truman,
Yeah.
like just show it all. Listen, Monica, I think we could talk about a million different things. You're a wicked cool, really down to earth, very highly qualified, reputable professional. So
Thank
congratulations
you.
on your achievements. As I said earlier, as a dad, I would be so proud of where you've come from and where you are. I'm sure your parents are. You have some things in the future. You're young in this industry. What's your future plans, Monica? Where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15? Walk me through Monica's world with white picket fences and all that. So
Well, thank you for your kind words. Seriously, and thank you for the invitation. I'm actually a very big fan of Sheriff Mark Lamb. I really, really enjoy, his work in exposing all of what's happening at the southern border, and I'm looking forward to your trip. For the future, we better get Trump back in office. It'd be an awesome time. It'd be such a turbulent, time to be alive and working at a Trump White House. That is for sure, because the travel would be insane, and it just would never be a slow day at the White House. So I would plan on staying very much with the network. I'm very happy here. They've been giving me so many great opportunities, but eventually, in a perfect world, I would love to have my own show one day. I would love to have my own talk show, political talk show, whatever that may be. But I definitely very much would love to stay in politics. I'm really enjoying it, and I learn so much every single day. So, I'm going from somebody who knew nothing about politics 10 years ago to somebody who is just completely infatuated with it, and I enjoy it every single day. Never stop learning, never stop enjoying it, and the passion just grows. It's like a little ball of fire inside of you. Once you get a little bit, it just grows into so much more. So I'm happy to see, you growing your podcast, and I'm very much looking forward to see what you do in the future as well.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much, Monica. It's funny because you said not knowing anything. Well, I don't think anyone in the administrations that we've seen in many years, with the exception of a couple, really know much in government. And I think that's on the standard level of local, state, and national. We've grown professional politicians rather than people.
Mm,
We need to get back to the people,
yeah.
serving for the people, and I could get speechy now. I've run for office, believe me. I had those yard signs, so I know the deal. But Monica, you're a real inspiring young woman in the industry of domination of crazy, because I can't imagine how you change each day's news cycle. It's insane. Like one day you go in, and the next day and then it gets, the sky is falling the next day. So it's something that's incredible. We'd like to learn more. I would like to come down to DC and spend some time with you down there as well, and just kind of get to know some more things on the details of being a correspondent at the White House. Monica Paige, where can people find you, check you out, go and share your stuff for us so we can keep on following and supporting you?
Absolutely, and Kevin, you're always welcome anytime here in DC, here in the swamp. We'll give you the full tour. People can find me Monica Page TV on Twitter/X, and on Instagram I am the Mon Father. You can find me there, where I post all my interviews and whatever you don't see on TV, behind the scenes, all that good stuff is also on my Instagram account. Do I have anything else? Yes, I'm on Facebook under just my name, Monica Page. Yeah, and I think that's it. I don't have any sort of Snapchat. I don't do any of that other stuff. But X and Instagram are my two main social media platforms of choice.
There you go. There you go. So go and check out Monica Page today, guys. Listen, awesome interview. I really do enjoy it. I want to respect your time. I know you're busy battling the battle down there. We will look for you, and we'll recommend everyone that follows us right here on this platform checks you out and supports you. Monica, just keep doing what you're doing, and keep inspiring people. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Kevin.
Real honor. Thank you so much. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Right here, Kevin Allen from the Prayed Up Network on the road.